Hi, everyone. We're a little bit early, so just stay tuned while we all trickle in for another amazing startup school night.
And I'll be right back. Yeah. Chloe. Oh wait, where's your?
It's Cleo, CLEO.PYKE at ryerson.ca.
I was just talking to a Chloe earlier today. Sorry.
Happens all the time.
Wait. Okay, cool. I'm just gonna send this to you right now. Okay, awesome. Yeah, because knowing me, I'm gonna be going on and be like, oh, I'm not in Zoom anymore. So beautiful. Okay, guys, I am super excited. So I intentionally didn't create slides for this presentation tonight because I like more of an interactive group. So last time I did this, I talked about brand building, launching products online, and there were a ton of great questions that came from it. And so I would love if you guys actually use chat to tell me where you're at right now and what you want to get out of this talk. So for guys, if you don't know me, tonight's conversation is really all about building a community around your brand online. And so I'm going to demystify what a community is. We're going to be talking about why you need a community. Is it even something you should have? And when should you have it? And while my specialty is in e-commerce, the principles we talk about building a community can be applied to if you're launching a SaaS product, if you're launching a house painting business. It applies to all verticals, all niches, because at the end of the day, we need a customer group that cares about what we're doing in order to be successful in business. So I'm really excited to go through like that process tonight and what exactly community building is. And then of course, at the end of my talk, if there are any questions that come through or someone doesn't really understand what I'm saying and you want me to dig deeper into something, I will try to glance at chat. But again, as Cleo said, things can get missed in there. So if I don't get to you, we can just wait to the end when the official Q&A starts. So guys, I'm super excited. I absolutely love that Ryerson, it has such a attention to real world entrepreneurship. So if you guys don't know much about my work, I'm going to start with a brief introduction about why I'm qualified to talk about building an audience and building a community online. So I am from Ottawa originally, but I've lived all over the world. And for the last 6 years, I have been helping startup founders launch physical products online. So my specialty is in consumer packaged goods. Basically anything you would buy on Amazon is what I help people sell online. And I got my start on Kickstarter about 6 years ago, where I launched my very first product out of Toronto, and it was a complete disaster. And you're going to find out tonight what we changed to for me to, specialize in Kickstarters when my very first campaign was a flop. But doing a product launch on Kickstarter taught me how to fail fast, but also how to correct that course and come back and launch a product successfully. So when we ended up relaunching that product a few months later, we ended up going from a $17,000 failure to one that raised over $600,000 US. And we netted close to 5,000 customers from that product launch. So super crazy transformation. And ever since that day, when I kind of got it, I started to learn the method and the formula to replicate that with multiple brands around the world. So since that very first product launch and that first, I guess, going viral on Kickstarter, I've helped founders both locally out of Australia, the US, Europe, bring new products to market and have multiple six-figure product launches. And that's really my bread and butter. That's what I love doing. And one thing that became super clear to me this week is this week I actually touched base with a few of our clients that had launched products like in the last 6 to 8 months. And there are people who at the time still had a full-time job or still were in school, and launching a product online was like a pipe dream. They knew they wanted to launch something to build a business, have a real business, have a team, to be able to fund their lifestyle, quit their job, and support their family on their own terms. And what's really amazing is after we touch base with those people, a lot of them who 8 months ago around product launch time were kind of like freaking out and confused because they didn't even know if their product would be successful. But take that past a product that was successfully launched to one that's now selling online. And having touched base with half a dozen of our students, 3 of them had quit their jobs already because of the income that they were able to replace from their product launch and from the business they've created. And one's on track to do $500,000 in sales this year, still as a full-time lawyer. So I want to bring this point to you guys because a product launch and building a community and really grassroots early stages for where you are today may not seem like that it's really going to apply to have bigger things or really compound into something bigger. But the reality is that the work that these entrepreneurs did early on when they still had a job, full-time student, full-time family, is they had a product and they understood that they needed a community to launch that product to and build their brand around having a community and a customer base that loved what they do. And because they focused on that relationship and that community building, it enabled bigger things in their life. So while it may seem today that if your community is only like 20 people or 200 or even 0, I love to bring up the story of where people are 6, 8, 12 months into the future, because oh man, the steps you take today and the things that you apply from this talk, even what you're doing right now, they compound into something even bigger in a few months' time that you may not even be able to. It may not feel real until it happens. But I feel that this is probably the big mistake that entrepreneurs make when you're just getting started with something, is you don't see the end goal because you're too busy kind of concerned figuring out what you're doing, right? And how to make stuff work, and wondering if what you're spending your time on is going to build into what you're working toward right now. So I love to start off with the story of like what you're doing now and the steps you take every day and what we talk about today are going to compound into you launching that 6, 7, 8-figure brand and having a business online that you may be able to exit from 5 or 10 years if that's your end goal. So why I tell this story is because it all starts with you having an audience. It all starts with you having a community. So let's talk about that. When I open this up with like, so how my first product launch was a fail, and then we came back and the thing went viral and we sold over $500,000 with a fitness toy, our fitness vest essentially, that helps you lose weight through cold temperatures. It turned out to be a product that was not viable in the end, but again, lots to learn from your first launch. I think the quote goes, if you're not embarrassed by some of your early work, you're doing it wrong. So definitely embarrassed by that first launch. But what it taught me is the recipe to having a successful launch, having a successful product, having a successful brand. And the big thing that we changed with that launch, having sold over $500,000 that second time, is we focused on having a community of people to launch to. So I know this talk isn't really about Kickstarter strategy, but Kickstarter has so many parallels to launching a product and launching a business that I think I like to draw a lot from that. So if anyone here is not familiar with Kickstarter, it is a product launch platform where if you have a product that you know that you need to raise capital for, because when you get a quote from the manufacturer, it's going to cost you $10,000 or $15,000 in inventory to buy that product, have it shipped to you, and then start selling. Kickstarter is a way to kind of reverse that process, where instead of you taking that money out of your pocket to invest in inventory in a product that you haven't sold yet, you don't really know if it's going to sell, Kickstarter allows you to put up a marketing campaign around this product to get pre-orders for this product. So if you go to Kickstarter for say a pair of headphones that you're bringing to market, right? And the manufacturer tells you the minimum order is like $50,000, we'll say. It could be much more than that, but we'll say it's $50K. You go to Kickstarter and say, okay, world, I need $50,000 to bring this product to market. So then customers or backers in Kickstarter land are going to come and pre-order your product by actually buying pairs of headphones. And then you as a founder take that money You then give it to the manufacturer after you've pre-sold these units. You then manufacture the product, and then 3, 4, 5 months later, the product gets shipped to backers. And that's how the Kickstarter model works. It reverses the order of how you bring a product to market by focusing on selling it first and then building it, versus the old way, which is build a product and then hope that people buy it. So where Kickstarter comes in is that in order to be successful on Kickstarter, a lot of people don't know this, but you have to have an audience of people ready to buy your product when you go to Kickstarter. Okay. So the reason for this is that Kickstarter is a discovery platform. So while they have thousands of users every month that go shopping on their website to find cool new products, Kickstarter in itself has to have a way to figure out what projects are doing really well, which ones are making money and selling, and which ones are generally being like enjoyed by people on their website. So they have an algorithm that helps them figure out which projects are popular to show to more people. And so this is the popularity algorithm. So in order for Kickstarter to show you to more people and favor you so you get that free platform traffic, you have to come in with an audience of people ready to buy your product so that you're really bringing that momentum early on, so that when you start to get traction on that first day, that's when Kickstarter, their algorithm will pick you up and will start feeding you free traffic. So Kickstarter has and pre-sale campaigns, or selling product before it exists, or before you have inventory for it, is really where community starts at the product launch section. And again, you may not have any intention to do Kickstarter. That's okay. When you have any product you're bringing to market, it could be a digital course, it could be an app, it can be a physical product, it could be a newsletter. Whatever that thing is that you're looking to bring to market to monetize and sell, the very first thing you want to do is make sure that there's demand for your product. And this is where one of the benefits of having a community is. So let's actually get into what a community is, because I feel like it's such a loose term that gets kicked around a lot. It means a lot of different things, but I like to talk about what my version of community is. So when you, and I'm going to talk about this in terms of, I guess, e-commerce, so we can apply it to different situations depending on like where you are. But when you're in e-commerce and you're selling products online and you have a Shopify website, the main thing that differentiates, the main reason why someone will buy your product versus competitors' product is because of how they feel about your brand. So having a community is having a group of people around your product or around your brand that really rally behind what you're doing. Okay, so they rally behind what you're doing. They're advocates for your product. They choose your product over the competition because they have an emotional connection with you. Okay, that to me is what a real community is. Tangibly, you might think a community is having a Facebook group of customers. You may think a community is having a social media following. A community could be a Patreon supporters. A community could be people on your email list, or they can even just be, if you have a cafe in Toronto, they could just be your local community that comes in every day for that morning coffee. So there's so many different ways you could tangibly think of what a community is, but the distilled essence of what community means to me is your relationship with your customer that sets you apart from other brands. And to me, having a community is not just about having people to launch to, but there's a bajillion like benefits to having a community here. So I'd love to know in the chat, when you think of community, what is the first word or first thing that comes to mind for you? Because I know we have a ton of different definitions. So I want to know like what community means for you. So it means like collective, friends, online forums, loyalty. I love this. Like support, connection. I love this. Okay, clients, exactly. Reviews. So again, the like-minded values. So that's really it. And we can go on and on, energy, but your community is really the reason why someone buys your product over somebody else's. So one of the brands that I am obsessed with, I'm obsessed with Lush. So Lush Cosmetics, they're like 100% vegan. Their store is overpowering with their signature smell. I love it. Guys generally hate the smell because it's overpowering, but I identify with Lush and its values. So if I look at me being a part of Lush community, I look at how they've essentially created an identity for their customer and a set of values and beliefs that people that buy Lush products generally have. Okay. You could think of Lush are people that like all natural products, people that may eat organic, people maybe that just like really smelly products, like in a good way. Or you can look at creating a stereotype, like Lululemon has created a cult following where I think I'm wearing like head to toe Lulu right now, but Lululemon has cultured a community of people who are super active. They drink Starbucks, they love vegan food, whatever that is, right? Like when you think of brands, you think of a certain kind of person, and this is where their community is based around a ton of those kinds of people. So of course, but I'm naming brands that have a global presence. So let's actually get to something a little more like grassroots to where you are today. So having a community of people that rally behind you can be, again, social media, Facebook group, email. It's really however you choose to interact with your customer or your email list or whatever that thing is that you're building. It could even be push notifications in an app. It could be a forum. It's however you have that direct communication. And when you are building up a community, we need to take it back to how do you build a community and how does it serve you? So having a community with a product launch, if we just keep it really specific. So if I'm launching a new e-commerce product, I would have, let's say I'm launching something in the yoga space. I'm launching a new yoga mat that has fancy something, right? It's just a yoga mat. I want to identify first, okay, well, if I'm launching a yoga mat, take it one step further in product selection to say like, okay, well, who am I serving? Because before you can sell any product online, it's not about selecting the product first. Even if you have the product selected right now, it's about choosing and really defining who is your ideal customer, who's the ideal person that's going to be in your community. So when I look at I look at who I want to serve and what kind of community I want to build, I say, okay, well, I want to serve people in the yoga space, but that's super broad. So how can I define my ideal customer so it's really specific? When you get really specific on who you serve, you're going to serve them better than anybody else, okay? So when I look at very first step in any business, who am I serving? Who is my customer? We want to get so specific that we say you give your avatar a name. So I want to say that Stacy, my avatar, does yoga 3 times a week. She loves going like on her way to work every morning. She grabs a Starbucks latte. She always has her yoga bag with her because she knows 3 times a week at lunch, she breaks from the day by going to the yoga studio. And then at night, she comes home, makes herself a really healthy vegetarian dinner, and then goes home. She loves yoga because it helps keep her mind and body at ease. So I create like a really specific profile of the kind of life my avatar has, but also getting really clear on the pain points they have around using other products in the space. So because when you look at launching a yoga mat for this Stacy, you have to be able to define how your yoga mat is different than what is currently available online. So by you getting very clear on who your customer is and understanding the space that they already exist in, because Stacy probably has purchased yoga products in the past. How has she been disappointed by those products in the past? What does she look for in a product? When you really start to step into your customer by making up this person and an elaborate story about this person, you're going to truly understand how you can serve them better than anybody else. Okay, so that's product positioning 101. Who is my customer and why are they going to use my product? And bringing this back to a community, your perfect community is going to be a community full of Stacy's. When you get clear on who that one person is, suddenly the next step for you is you're going to be able to identify how you find more Stacy's. Okay. Because I may think that, great, well, I've designed a yoga mat that I know Stacy's going to love. Okay. And when you start to, perhaps the step one in community building is you join a few local yoga Facebook groups, or you go to local yoga studios and start talking to some of the yoga students and interviewing them and seeing like what they struggle with, what sort of brands they've tried, how they've been disappointed by products in the past, what do they look for in yoga products, really understand what they're looking for and understanding the customer so that you can speak their language when it comes time to launching your product. And when you go out there to build your audience, it starts by you getting into other communities and you being a part of other yoga audiences so that you can bring other Stacy's to you because you are offering something different, something unique. So guys, how is this so far? Is this the kind of content you like hearing? Is there something different you want to hear about? Okay, let me see. Sense besides kicks, how can you figure out the number of Stacy's out there in a general sense? I love this. Okay, that's a great question. So how do you know if the niche you're in is not too small or not too big? So the general rule is that you want to niche down more than you think you do. And in terms of getting a sense of how many Stacy's are out there, there are a couple of things you could do. You can, and this kind of goes into product discovery, but going to Amazon.ca and looking up competing products and looking at the reviews in those products, you're going to get a sense of how many customers are reviewing. If there's a few thousand, that's great. You can look it up based on the number of yoga studios in a city. I mean, Toronto's littered with them, right? But you can look at things like Google Keyword Planner to get an understanding of how many searches or how many people are searching for certain keywords like yoga in Toronto. And if you find that that gets search volume of over 30,000 hits a month, that's a pretty good indicator that's a fairly large market for these Stacy's, right? But at the end of the day, the niche that you're going in when you first get started is likely pretty big. And then the thing that you've got to prove is, does the niche want your product? And is their product market fit with that? So another reason you really get to know your Stacy is so that you can test your message on why this product, like how this product that you're bringing to market serves them, and how not just serves them, but like what's the problem it's solving in their life. And then you can test to see if enough Stacy's will buy your product. Okay. So chances are the niche you're going after is likely big enough, but the big mistake most people make is they try to keep it so broad because they're so terrified of narrowing the market too much. But the riches are in the niches, as I don't know who that quote is from, but the more specific you are, then the more specialized you're going to be. So I'm a triathlete, which means I run races, which are swimming, bikes, and running, or biking and running. And when you get into the triathlete community, people are crazy. Like if you've done more than a couple races, all of a sudden these triathletes want to spend like $20,000 on a carbon fiber bike. They want to buy all the best equipment. They want to spend the money because they want to be the best at what they're doing, because they're fanatics. They're like very passionate about what they do. And you're going to find that the more you niche down, the more you really get into those hobbyist communities, or the communities where people are super passionate, you're going to find that they buy every product because they're searching for something that's right for them. So last thing you want to have is you're bringing a bike computer to market. The difference for a triathlete that spends money all the time on the new gear that comes out is if you have a bike computer that is specifically made for endurance athletes that run Ironman, ultra Ironmans, and it's meant for like mileage. you're going to be sure that the specialty triathlete is going to go buy that super expensive niche bike computer and spend $5,000 on that thing, guaranteed. But if you market your bike computer as it's great for all ages, it's great for mountain biking, it's great for triathlons, you can even bring it rollerblading with you. The top triathlete who is serious about their sport is not going to touch that thing because they think, you know what? It's too general for me. It's not going to perform as well as the thing that was specifically designed for me. Okay. So even though most of us don't think like endurance athletes who spend $20,000 on a bike, that's exactly how we feel when we identify as someone who is serious about losing weight or serious about their fitness or serious about getting relief for a certain problem in their life. They will pay extra money for something that is specifically designed for them, which is why we've got to get so specific in our messaging and really narrow it down. So even though the population of Stacy's might be millions, you're looking to serve the 1,000 true fans in that niche. And that's how you start an amazing business, by focusing on those die-hard people who want something designed for them like that. So when it comes time to building up a community, I think that the right time to start is today or yesterday if you haven't. I think that starting to build your community should be the first thing you do, even if you don't have an idea for a product. I think if you have a product in market right now and you haven't focused on building a community, you need to start that right now. So building up your community comes to, first, we've covered it, selecting the customer that you want to serve and getting really clear on who they are and why they will buy your product. Okay. Second, you want to start inviting them into your world. So the easiest way to start doing that, there's one of two things. You can invite them to your Facebook group. Okay. So you can have a Facebook group where it's meant to, hypothetically, you want to launch a new product in the fitness space or the food space, or depending on where you're at right now, you are going to start a Facebook group for fitness enthusiasts that want to connect with other fitness enthusiasts and share tips, strategies, and tricks as you go there. So you figure out an angle for the group that serves the Stacy demographic you're going after, right? I don't even know why I chose the name Stacy, pretty random, but whatever. So you choose to either have a Facebook group, which is where you can get your potential prospects and customers to hang out as you build your family and your community. The other traditional way to do it is to start building an email list. And so I've seen a couple of people in this room who are doing a Kickstarter campaign. You are probably building your email list already, and getting people on your email list essentially means you're getting them to go to your website and subscribe for notifications when you go live. So anyone who joins your mailing list means that they're looking for regular emails and product updates and to get notified when they could actually buy your product, right? And starting to build up your email list is going to be something that it's a practice you start today and you don't ever stop that, because when you have a list, you have customers, you have people who are always going to buy your product. When you have a strategy in place to build your community over time, you're constantly inviting more people into your ecosystem. You're constantly increasing the number of people who can buy new products as you release them, or get product feedback, or be a source of product reviews, or beta testers, or whatnot. So there's a lot in there. So I'm going to see niche, it'll be easier. Okay, awesome. So I would love to hear from you guys. Who in here is building a community already, and how are you doing that? Because I'd love to focus on a specific platform. Okay, just drop that in the chat. I saw someone put a hand up, but yeah, if you want to drop that in the chat. If not, Instagram. Okay, Instagram. Okay, newsletter, great way. Okay, let's talk about paid advertising. And by paid advertising, I mean Instagram. Okay, I love this question. So a popular question I get a lot is, are email lists dead? Because email lists are something that started in 1990s. Are they archaic? Are they something that we should just not focus on anymore? And should we focus on social media, right? So the reality is that building up social media is an asset. It's a community, right? It's in this conversation. But the problem with social media is you don't have control over these platforms. Platforms can have their algorithms change. Platforms can go out of business. They may not be around in 10 years. We don't know what's going to happen in social media. You also don't really own your account. So what happens if your account gets hacked, or you lose access, or just Facebook or Instagram bans you? All of a sudden, all these followers and this social proof and awareness you've built up on Instagram, Facebook, TikTok goes away overnight. And if that's your primary place to have your audience, like, you're kind of screwed. So I believe that email is the number one way forward, followed by social media. And I think that they actually serve each other. So here's why. Having a strategy to build your email list gives you direct access to owning your customer data. So meaning, if you if you get kicked off Instagram, you still have direct access to a customer list that you fully own, right? If you sell exclusively on Amazon and no other platform, Amazon doesn't give you access to your customer data. So if your listing on Amazon gets shut down, overnight, your income is gone. So having a list that you own, that you control, is buying your freedom and making sure that you are de-risking ever going out of business because of another platform. So it leaves the control in your hands. So I believe that regardless of how big your social media following is, you need to have an email list in addition to it as your direct mode of communication with customers. It's direct mode of communication with customers, but also as a fail-safe if anything happens to your social accounts. Okay, not to be all like doomsday, but that's the reality. So email list and social media, how do they work together? So the way that we want to see the funnel come together is that you're building your email list by having having your website dedicated to collecting email addresses. Okay, so you want to have one central spot online where people can go to learn more about your product, and that's your website. And when your website has a bit of product information saying that, hey, we're launching soon on Kickstarter, or we're launching our beta app soon, or we're launching our newsletter soon, whatever that thing is that you're launching, click here to sign up and get notified when we're live. Awesome. So they join your email list and they're now on your list. And then you follow up and nurture that relationship with email communication. Okay. That's its own topic, but that's how the funnel works. So before you start an aggressive marketing campaign, you really want to make sure you have one spot online where people can go and give their information to get them to virtually put their hand up and say, I'm interested. Okay. So how social media falls into this is that social media is like a net. So when you're posting on social media, you're growing your followers, you are putting out content that serves your Stacy. Okay, so we go back to the Stacy example. Stacy she loves yoga, she loves long walks on the beach, she loves meditation, and just whatever that profile looks like. So you're going to put up content that's meant to attract Stacy, that's meant to inspire Stacy, that's meant to educate Stacy, and that's also meant to draw her into your world and what you're doing. So when you post content, we can get to the kind of content soon, but when you post the content, it's meant to be as like a fishing net to bring Stacy's into your environment, and they follow your account, they start to engage with your content, and they start to become a fan. And they went from someone who had never heard of you before to someone who's like, I really like this content. And then one day they're like, oh, hey, this company is launching this thing. That looks pretty cool. Oh, there's a link in the bio. Okay, cool. So based on them seeing a post they resonate with and your call to action saying, hey, we're launching soon, link in bio, go sign up on our website. Now what you're doing through social media is you are directing all traffic to your website to funnel them onto your email list. Okay. So this doesn't just work with social media. If you are pitching press, if you are pitching influencers, if you're pitching retailers, okay, any way that you're marketing, you want to direct everybody back to your website for more information so they can check you out and learn more. Okay. So it's really nice to have like that professional looking online storefront. So social media is so powerful and a must have because it acts as a net to bring the traffic into your website to get them to join your wait list. And if you're thinking like, well, that just seems like a lot of work. Why not just cut the wait list out and just get people to follow me instead? Well, because when you have a launch announcement or something exciting happen, unfortunately, people are only going to see your content based on when the Instagram algorithm decides they're going to serve your content. And in order for them to see certain announcements, they have to either be on your profile or scroll through the feed and see your thing. So it's so many people on Instagram are going to miss your posts about launch or cool stuff because not everyone checks social media. So you're going to lose a lot of people if you're trying to have that as like your number one spot of method of communicating with your people. So you need that list because your email, like people are still used to checking their email. And when they open your email, you literally have their attention and they're not going to miss that email. So it's email is still a much more direct way to get in front of someone without relying on social media. And something else that we're trying is SMS marketing. So SMS marketing is even better than email. So email open rates on average, you're seeing between 20 and 30%, but SMS marketing is around 60 to 80% because it still plays on you've got someone's undivided attention when they get a text message. So, as hey, look into that. SMS marketing is another method to keep in touch with people. So we use that in addition to social media, in addition to building an email list. But SMS marketing is more meant to like engage an existing list that you have versus bring people in. Okay. So when it comes to social media and building up your Instagram account and following, there's a lot of strategies you can use out there to increase your followers. But at the end of the day, it comes down to the quality of your content and how well it resonates with your target audience. So one thing I love doing, I work with a planner right now. So it's the Monk Manual. I don't know if you guys have heard of it or not, but it's like the 5-minute journal or the gratitude planner, where it's a 90-day system to help you feel just more grateful, better time management, etc. Right? And with the Monk Manual, what they did to build their list, instead of just focusing on, hey guys, we're launching soon, sign up for launch updates, they provided something of value that was like a free download. So with the Monk Manual, this works so well with any publishing, where you can give people like a free sneak peek into your product before they buy your product. It's like a try to buy thing, or buy before whatever. Anyway, I've been up since 4. So if I ramble, I'm sorry. But so in saying that, the Monk Manual was able to build their list a lot faster because they offered a free download, which was they offered 2 weeks of their planner for free in the form of a PDF. So when they started posting on social media, like, hey, go to our website to download your free pages, they would have a really easy way to bring people in, that built their list a lot faster. And because they provided value up front, it drastically increased the likelihood of someone following through and purchasing the product when it came time to launch. Or this method also works if you have product online that you're already selling, and you can use it as a way to warm up your email list if they're not quite ready to buy just yet. So on social media, you definitely want to focus on what sort of content you can put out there that helps make your customer's life easier. I think I hear so many people like have this backwards, where they look to, and like, raise your hand if you've done this, but you've sat down to create a social media content calendar for the month, and you're like, what do I think people want to learn? What do I think they will like? What do I think is going to work? And it's so focused on that's actually not the right question to developing great content. The right question to creating great content is going to be, what is my customer struggling with? and what sort of content can I put out that's going to help benefit them. Okay. So one great way to do this is there's a website I absolutely love called Answer the Public, and answerthepublic.com. So if we have an example where, okay, so I'm going to use a case study here because I love case studies. We're going to use caliweights.com. I'm going to share my screen in a second. It's Caliweights, Answer the Public. Okay, so I'm going to blow your mind with these two tools here. Oh, hey, Cleo, do you mind if I share my screen, please?
Yep, 1 second.
Awesome. All right. So this is a brand we work with called Cali Weights. So Cali Weights is weighted fitness jewelry. It's kind of like Bala Bangles if you guys ever follow Shark Tank, but it's this like these 0.25 kilogram bands that you can wear around the gym, the office, to get a passive workout in during the day. So when we went to launch Cali Weights, we had to start by asking ourselves, okay, who is the person we're serving? What do they care about? And what are they struggling with every single day? And so what we're doing with this client right now is we are creating a content plan around how do we show up where they're searching. So we can look and see, okay, well, someone who buys this sort of product cares about fitness. They care about getting a workout in passively. There's someone who's already active. So there are people that do yoga or lift weights at the gym, or maybe do F45, or maybe do some sort of group training workout already and wants that extra exercise. So we start to build a profile, and then we can use a tool like Answer the Public. So Answer the Public is this gold mine of information, which will basically tell you what people are searching for. So if we are creating content specifically for the Cali Weight demographic, our demographic cares about quick fitness tips. They care about how to use Cali Weights. They care about other fitness accessories. They care about diet. They care about looking good. And so we can provide content that helps them. This guy cracks me up here. But if we can create content that helps them get that end result, then they're going to come to us and see us as an authority. So the way Answer the Public works, and this will take some time to figure it out, but if I want to say fitness tips, okay, let's see what people are searching for in terms of fitness tips. And again, this might take a couple of tries, but essentially you're going to put in a keyword that your customer is searching for, because some of these just don't make sense. Okay, fitness tips, how to lose weight. That could be a great blog article or an Instagram post where like roundup of influencers' top tips to lose weight. Body fitness tips, how to get fit tips. What are 5 fitness tips, right? What are the best fitness tips? You could do roundup of our favorite fitness apps. And you could like play around with this to get some ideas from what sort of content you can put out there based on what people are searching for. It's really cool. And I think I forgot what I was going to say before, but essentially like Answer the Public is a gold mine of information. So in my business, if anyone here is not in the physical product space, like this is how I plan my YouTube content, where in order for me to show up in search rankings under Kickstarter and product launch strategy, I use Answer the Public to figure out in the Kickstarter space what people are searching for. And then when one of the search terms that Answer the Public has says how to launch a Kickstarter campaign, I'm going to create a video or a piece of content called, and this only really works with like a blog or YouTube video, but because of SEO, but like I can create a video that's how to launch a product on Kickstarter 2021. And that, because that is a keyword people are searching for, because I went through Answer the Public, I'm able to literally serve the answer to people and help get discovered by more people. And so Instagram's version of that is hashtags. So when you create top fitness tips or you create fitness roundups or whatever that is that really serves your Stacy, you are going to be able to use hashtags to rank where people are searching on Instagram as well. So, And same goes with TikTok here. Anyone here on TikTok? I'm like, so I'm about to like commit to TikTok. It just seems so awkward to do, but
TikTok is where it's at, Kirsten. It's so awesome.
I know. It's so weird. I was on a mastermind call today, and one of the girls, she's another coach, and one of the girls was like, you know, TikTok is the reason I felt comfortable doing YouTube, but YouTube was terrifying for me. So I went on TikTok first and it felt okay. I'm like, man, it's like the opposite for me. I feel like such a natural on YouTube, but when it comes to like dancing on TikTok, which I know you don't have to dance on TikTok, but I'm just like, I just feel so awkward. Right. But I know it's the way forward. So I'm going to be committing to that in the next 2 weeks. So you guys are all listening to me for accountability here. So scary. But that's really my overview of community building. There's a lot more. I think that Cleo, at this point, is it cool if we jump into QAs? Because I think that's going to be really where the gold comes out in people's specific situations.
Whatever you want, whatever you want.
Cool. Yeah, I'd love to do Q&As. So.
All right, I'll go.
Who's first?
Anybody who wants to raise their hand, you could use the raise hand function. And I'll just keep a little eye here on the chat and see what we got. So Yarden, go ahead.
Awesome.
Thank you. Thank you so much. I was just wondering, like, you talked a bit about like growing social media accounts and stuff like that. How would you go about it, like for a newsletter? Like, are there ways to like find communities? Like, I run a newsletter for a journalism site, but the product is a newsletter. Like, how do I get more people onto?
Yeah, so a couple things you could do. It's about posting, but posting is not going to get you very far if you're not using hashtag strategy. There's a program I use called flick.tech to find hashtags. I'll just put this in chat, but flick.tech. So that's really good to find hashtags. Another thing is like, are there any other influencers or publications in your space that you could do a joint venture with or like giveaway contest or something like that to help kind of share traffic?
Potentially, yeah.
Okay. So that's another great way to build overall brand building is working with other accounts for giveaways or doing interviews or collaborations at some point. I'm not too familiar with your newsletter, but another thing you could do is what is your newsletter actually like?
I'm just sharing it.
Okay,
I just
cool.
realized I should have shared it. It's like journalism. We interview all sorts of journalists and stuff, and like we
have conversations about
Substack really, but like I'm looking to modernize it.
Okay, so is this like you need to find content creators to post on this, like kind of like Medium?
And yeah, but like I myself post on it, right? Like we do interviews and then we just kind of share it, I guess. Okay,
cool. So doing the interview approach, when you can target interviewers or interviewees with bigger audiences, and when you tag them on Instagram with their handle, you know that, and they they repost or reshare it in their stories, that's gonna be a great way that some of their followers are going to see because they were kind of featured on your publication, right?
100%, yeah.
So really borrowing someone else's audience is really strong. There are other services out there that will, like, you can either mass follow other accounts and hope they follow you back. That's super time consuming, but that's it. There's another strategy called, I think, $20. I wish I knew what this is called. Okay, $20 club. You know, I might have to get back to you on that, but essentially it's a site that allows you to comment on some of the top not news, but like blogs and influencer discussion online so that you can be where the conversation is. And I think it's called, $80. That's what it's called. Hold on. $80. I just want to make sure this is right before I get, yeah, okay, cool. So $80.com it was popularized by Gary Vee way back in the day, but this is a great way to get visibility with influencers. there are also services online that you can pay to grow your following, but you have to be careful not to buy followers because you want real followers in your space that are going to engage with your content, right?
Right.
So those are just some of the things that I would say, but it's about being consistent and showing up as well.
Thank you.
Yeah.
You.
Next we have Farkunda, and then we have Rita, and then Rahim.
Hi, thank you for the presentation.
Welcome.
My question is, so I have my products, I'm starting a clothing brand and I have my product. Oh, she's still,
Okay, I'm still here. Yeah, I was just like the only one on video, so.
yeah. So yeah, I'm starting a clothing brand, and basically I have my product, but I'm doing a photo shoot soon for the product. I was just wondering, like, before you even release your product, how do you build a community on social platforms like Instagram and TikTok?
Yeah, so do you have any renderings or product shots right now, or are you just kind of waiting for that photo shoot?
I'm just kind of waiting for that photo shoot.
Okay, so, and the photo shoot's happening in a couple weeks, you said?
Yeah, like next
Cool.
week. Yeah.
Oh, awesome. Okay, so what I would do is I would take those photos and I would create a landing page on your website where you are collecting emails. And then what you want to start doing is getting the Instagram account up, starting to build your email list. You want to, so what is unique about your product, or like, can you tell me a bit more about the brand itself?
So yeah, so my brand story is kind of like, I want to have so I'm going toward trying to produce like eco-friendly clothing, and just the meaning behind my brand is more about like expressing yourself and like, sorry about that, expressing yourself during a time like this, especially. I feel like there's a lot of pressure in the world for especially kids my age, like I'm 19 years old, so it's
Yeah,
kind of that too. And just like it's a streetwear brand, so I'm doing more
gotcha.
streetwear. Yeah.
Okay, so would the reason people buy it is because of the designs and because it's eco-friendly?
Yeah, I feel like that would be, yeah.
Okay, so that's really one thing you want to get clear on, because there are so many clothing brands, but it's what yours brings that's unique and different, right? So when you have the photo shoot, you're going to be able to kind of, people are going to see and identify with the clothes, and then you want to have a way for them to join your email list to get notified when you go live. And then once you have that email, like when you have the mechanism together to build your list, then the next thing you want to do is a marketing campaign. So that could be networking in other Facebook groups, that can be partnering with influencers, that could be you shooting your own YouTube content or Instagram content, right? It could be paid marketing, so Facebook, Instagram advertising. At the end of the day, you want to get really clear on why people like your product and why they're going to buy it and who is buying that, so that you can figure out where they hang out online and go bring them into your community.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
Awesome. Next is Rita, and then Rahim.
Thank you. Thanks so much for the chat. I've really been enjoying the presentation.
Oh,
So my question is about, so I've started selling a product online and I've had sales, and I assumed that most of my customers would be what we've called Stacy.
Yeah.
But I noticed that like half of them were actually not, they were other people. And now I feel like I have to work backwards to figure out what niche they fall under. And I'm not entirely sure how to do that because they're just names on a customer list right now.
so just curious, what's your product?
It's a beaker mug. So it's a,
Oh,
yeah.
like, okay, for like lab experiments?
Yeah, but
Oh,
like
mug,
it's
sorry,
not, it's
like,
not
but
for,
it's a
yeah,
coffee
so it's
mug.
not like actually for the lab. It's for like
No, that's
scientists that really
cool.
like science and they want to bring it into their home.
Right. Yeah. Okay. So, oh, this is a fun question. We worked with a sleep brand out of Australia that were selling blue light glasses. And when they first started, it was two brothers, late 30s, that designed a pair of glasses for who they thought would buy it. And they thought their marketing and their demographic was like males, mid 40s, corporate, the cool guy, right? And so they created their marketing and their photo shoots and their messaging all around serving that like mid 40s dude. And sales were kind of like, they were okay, but they were spending so much money acquiring a customer that when they like 2 years into their business, they're already like a 7-figure brand at this point. They checked their Facebook stats and were blown away to discover that their real customer was a woman in her mid 50s. And imagine how much money they left on the table by marketing to the wrong demographic. So it's super important. And then they, of course, change everything and their business grew and that's it. But when you are presented with a customer demographic that was not what you originally intended, that's really good news. Because I think when everyone starts to market a product, we launch with assumptions. We assume people like our product. We assume that this kind of person is going to buy our product, and we assume why they're going to buy our product. But when you get evidence that suggests you are wrong, you've got to dig into that. So when they're on your email list, you want to actually get some of these people on the phone, or if that's a bit too much for you, send emails to some of your top customers or the ones that open your emails and just say like, hey, just curious, I'm the founder. I would love to know, why did you buy this mug? What is it that you loved about it? And you really want to just talk to your customer and figure out like who they are and why they bought it so that you can pivot your messaging, and even better, like figure out what other products you can bring to market that are going to serve that customer group.
Amazing. Thank you.
Welcome.
Awesome. Next we have, oh, where'd my little list go? Was that Raheem that just went, or Rena?
Rita. Yeah.
So Raheem, go ahead.
Thank you, Cleo. Great presentation, by the way.
Thank you.
Welcome. I just wanted to ask, so I have a project going on where I'm going to be doing urban agriculture. So
Sweet.
while I'm carefully working on that, but being strategic, I've had I'm in the research ideation phase, but I will probably launch sometime early next year. I'm just putting everything in place.
Great.
While I'm getting that in place, I'm currently reselling and doing other things like that. But more of my customer base is, let's say, within a few kilometer radius, people I know, new customers that I just found. I'm reselling things. I'm getting, let's say, sourcing like food and things like that for them for really cheap and just selling it to them. And some of my items are low margin. Some of my items are higher margin, depending on what the product is. Now, for me, a big thing is, instead of starting or going on Shopify or a website soon for the items I'm, let's say, reselling or trying to mark up, I'm currently going door to door and delivering them myself once they provide me with the money and everything like that and put the order in. I'm trying to build that community. Do you think I should continue to build that community in person with those people, get some sort of, not just acknowledgement from them, but they kind of know me, building that relationship with them? And then from there, as soon as I start growing my sales, which I'm currently doing, then I can maybe get to Shopify once I have a certain amount of customers already? Or do you think I can kind of move faster with it?
I mean, what do you want this to be like? Is this just a kind of a part-time gig for 2021, or do you want to make a business out of this?
Yeah, so I thought it would be a small hobby and I could get customers that could eventually translate into my urban agriculture project. Because I'm currently selling, sourcing some items like food and other stuff, but also I'm reselling like household products. I'm selling electronics. Everything is brand new. But the thing is, for me, like, I just want to be able to like fill a need, right? I feel that if I'm able to source items for cheaper than you can buy them in some stores, I'm able to sell it. I'm providing value in that sense, free delivery. I'm doing it. I want to build like a business around that, and eventually have some of the money from that help launch my urban agriculture project.
So yeah, I'm a huge fan of keeping it lean until you have to. But in saying that, I think you should have a web presence. Not saying you should automate everything onto a full Shopify store right now, but if you can have a Shopify store that is like a contact you page, because what happens if like one of your customers loves you and is talking about you to a friend, and that friend wants to learn more?
So I
And you
just
don't have anything online, right?
so I just actually created a Wix site prior
Okay,
to
cool.
Shopify. I thought that way they could contact me through the chat, the contact us,
Beautiful.
and I could start doing that and go and segue into Shopify. Yeah, sorry, go on.
Okay,
I just wanted to let
great,
you.
awesome. So that's perfect. So you have that. And I think until you are overburdened with orders, don't do Shopify yet, because Shopify is going to be when you start to automate it, when you bring on help to help you, and then you can have someone managing more orders than you can handle, right?
Yeah, so it's better that I wait until I can scale to a certain point. Then it's I guess feasible and it makes sense to move to that. Okay,
Exactly, because like don't invite complexity when you don't need it just yet.
exactly. No, thank you so much. I appreciate that.
You're welcome. Right, who is next?
Awesome. Sorry.
Oh, no
Favor.
worries.
And sorry, guys, just a quick note. Anybody who's in the chat who's asking questions, they are for sure not getting answered. I need you guys to raise your hands because I can't keep track of who raises their hand when that way. So just put your hand up and then we'll get to it. Favor, you can go ahead. Or Favor? Favor?
Sure. Hello.
Hey.
Hi. This was an awesome session. I appreciate it. My
You're
question
welcome.
is, at this moment, I am in a stage of rapid prototyping. We've been interviewing people that we believe are our target market,
Great.
like healthcare workers, podiatrists, chiropractors.
Yeah.
What we're building is basically a smart orthotic insoles that could reduce foot pain, but as well track some biomechanics.
Yeah,
And
awesome.
thanks. And now I'm thinking of I know you said don't buy followers, but something that we did was we got a list of like 3,000 foot doctors in Canada. And what we want to do is send out a cold outreach sequence to get people to take an interview for inbound marketing. Like let's say we put stuff on YouTube, start building a community.
Yep.
If we do, let's say once a month of those like 1 hour videos, we chop them off through other social media platforms. The couple insights, and I want to get your feedback on this as well, is that you mentioned joining groups like Facebook, like I'm guessing Facebook groups, LinkedIn groups, even Reddit forums, that kind of
Reddit
stuff.
forums. Yep, you got it.
That's basically what I'm trying to do right now. Is you think that that's a good play?
I do. Yeah.
Okay, cool.
In terms of, I would be careful with so I think it's great that you bought a list of doctors, but I don't know if you're planning on literally emailing all of them at once, but I would take the time to curate a more personalized message with them, because you're going to get a much higher response rate and buy-in from them.
Okay, sounds good. Thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome.
Awesome. Next we have Julie Ling. Go ahead, Julie.
Hi, thank you so much for this amazing presentation. It was so rich with so much insight and golden nuggets. So my question is particularly around the division of your time. I'm hearing that you are active within your product creation and also with coaching, but you also mentioned a ton of investment in YouTube, creating content. How does that fit in? Because right now, at the onset, it just sounds like a ton of chaos, structured chaos, but I want to see and get your guidance on where you kind of time box things and prioritize.
Yeah, so I know it sounds like chaos, but I've kind of figured out a system that works for me. The reality is, like, as you grow a business, more and more and more stuff's going to be added to your plate. So you have to get good at kind of prioritizing how you spend your time and what you spend your time on. So how it works for me, like being on social media, posting YouTube videos, doing Instagram, emailing my list, serving my students, creating new content, all that, just everything that goes into my work, serving my clients, running an agency, like, so what I have, like, I wake up every day around 6 or 6:30, and every morning between 8 and 11 is my deep work time. So I learned that if I take phone calls all day, I get no work done. So I started prioritizing my morning to be like no calls. So I'm actually changing it so I don't take phone calls after or before noon anymore, because my mornings are my deep work. So what I categorize deep work as, first thing every day, I focus on marketing. So marketing for me, every morning I have what's called a serve list. And a serve list is basically 5 things I have to do in the first hour of my morning to show up and serve. And serve means marketing. So a serve list for me will be, okay, well, you need to publish your YouTube video, you need to post on Instagram, you need to email your list, and you need to show up for your clients, right? Like just providing value first thing in the morning. And then after that's done, it's usually the first 90 minutes of my day. And then that leaves like an hour and a half to 2 hours for deep work. So deep work for me is for my priorities. A priority is something that it's not the inbox. It's not something that is really stressing me out. It's like things that I need to work on for long-term brand building. So for some of you guys that may be finalizing your prototype, that may be studying like an e-commerce course or a Facebook ads course the first 2 hours of your day, things that kind of build leverage that are super important, but that by the time the chaos of the day sets in, you generally do not take the time for. So that's why they say you need to do the gym first thing in the morning, otherwise it doesn't get done. So I fully subscribe to that. So like my day is up at 6 or 6:30, at the gym for 7, 8 to 11 or 12 is focused on like my business building or content or social media stuff. And then my afternoon is for sales calls, client calls, catching up on email, catching up with the agency side. And then like I'll take a break for dinner, and then I shut off work around 7 or 8 o'clock every night. So that's typically like my afternoon typically is not as structured as the morning, because like for me, I just know I'm at my best in the morning. So I put my best work in the morning, if that like makes sense.
It does make sense. That's kind of combining the concept of Cal Newport's deep work and Brian
Exactly.
Tracy's eating the frog first thing.
Yeah, it's like a combination of those both. And I fought this system so long because I was like, I am not naturally consistent. I hate routine. And so I fought that for years, and like I just felt like I got nothing done. So the last 6 months have been some of the most like productive months of my life, because I've finally like committed to a system that actually works for me, even though I like naturally avoided it my whole life. But there's like so much merit in what those guys talk about.
Thank you so much. This honestly can be applied to across the board, even those not even working in startups yet.
Yeah, even as a student, right? If you have a part-time job and you're a student, it's just like better time management all around, I think.
Awesome. Thank you so much. Next person up is Augustina.
Hey, Kirsten, how are you doing?
Hey, good. How are you?
Thanks so much for doing this presentation. It's been amazing so far.
You're welcome. Turn my video on.
Okay, nice seeing your face.
Yes.
So essentially, I'm working on an online marketplace for 2 consumers. I'm working in the beauty tech sphere, so basically connecting diverse beauty with diverse beauty service providers. So
okay, yep.
Building communities on both ends simultaneously, one before the other. Like, how would you go about that?
Okay, so tell me a bit more. Are you basically, okay, so I worked for a company before I quit and committed to being an entrepreneur like 7 years ago now, Treatwell in the UK, where they essentially, if you as a consumer want a massage, you want your hair done, you want your nails done, you can go to their online directory of spas and book it right there. It was like a Just Eat version of spas. Are you doing something like that, or?
It's similar. So
okay,
the assumption first is that everyone has different features beauty wise. So it's harder for certain ethnic groups or people who are outside of Eurocentric features can find services. So we're using like SEO keywords to find service providers that can do that, because not everybody can do curly hair or sensitive skin or so on. So that's one aspect. And then the second aspect is that we're trying to make our reviews more interactive, kind of like TikToks and visuals, because most people like to write reviews, but visual reviews are a lot more impactful. So we want to create a community on our app. People are sharing it and liking it and whatnot. So And that will just kind of bring, like, I guess, build the brand image for the salon owners, increase their discoverability, but streamline all their customers on one platform.
Yeah, because it's a chicken egg situation where because my job with Treatwell was to get salons and like listed. And the number one question was, what are you going to do to bring me customers? Right. So you have to do both. Like the end user, it's like Uber Eats. Before Uber Eats can get restaurants on board, they have to prove that they have a solid marketing plan to get users into their restaurant. Right. So I think about figuring out like what is the benefit for the business to be on, but also what's the benefit? Because if you are like, really, what's your edge for the consumer and why are they going to use your platform versus other alternatives? And just having a marketing plan that speaks to both the consumer, but also you have a onboarding plan for salons as well. And then you do what you can to make sure that salons get early adoption with that, if that makes sense. To like start getting good reviews, and then that's how you start to get more people on board.
Yeah, like right now we have an Instagram and also a website, but with the Instagram, we're actually reaching out to different salon providers in Toronto and asking them, hey, would you like to be on our like Instagram, the curation of inspiration page for everyone to look at different services. What was one of our biggest struggle as our brand is actually finding really good pictures. We realized a lot of these salons don't take that's something we noticed. Like it was actually very hard just to curate really, because obviously our aesthetics is very important as our brand too, and we want to
have you considered a package where it's like, I don't know if you have it, but you bring in a photographer for some of your like high level, because the thing is like, it's the same with us and launching products. If we partner with brands that have really crappy photography, it makes us look so bad and unprofessional. We could be the best launch provider in the world, but because of assets, we're judged by that. So if you want to be clean, minimal, or whatever that is for you, like you need perfect photography. So I would own that. And as like an upsell, so if you have a business, you're like, look, it's $20 a month or 5% transaction fee, whatever that is for how you're monetizing, having a upsell photography package that they can use for Google and stuff is going to up their game, and they're 10 times more likely to get a booking than someone with just like, they've put no effort into photos.
Yeah. So right now we're in the process of trying to reach those people to do photography for them. So like they pay for that service, just be on our website for free, just because we're such an early stage. So they have incentivized, but that's kind of what we decided the marketing strategy to go with salons first before users.
Makes sense.
Yeah, because I feel like users, if they look at our site and there's like 2 salons, let's just say, they're probably going to be like, no, I'm just going to use Instagram or Yelp or whatever the case may be.
Yeah. The other thing too is like, if you have a salon in East Toronto and I'm in Etobicoke and I'm searching, it's like, I'm not driving to Scarborough for this. So outreach strategy would be great if you could, I know COVID's kind of weird right now, but if you could do like a community approach where you'll launch communities and focus on like, it'd be great in the summer with like, if you're launching around Trinity Bellwoods and you're getting all of downtown Toronto who's conglomerating around Trinity Bellwoods, and you have flyers passed out, you do like a free promo around downloading your app, and people can use local salons on King and Queen Street because you've really like focused on the downtown core, and then you expand. That could be what you do. I think Ritual did that when they first like came to market, is they really focused on like a local downtown demographic before like fanning out. So that might be something you want to like look at.
Oh, so that makes sense, like a niche, like actual location.
Neighborhoods.
Yeah. Then, well, because right now with COVID, everything is closed. So our validating a market of actually booking is kind of like not easy to do so far, because legally you can't actually do the services. So how would you recommend going about that?
So you could try a couple of things. I don't know what your marketing budget is, but you can try on Facebook geo-targeting. Have you heard of that before?
I've used some Facebook ads, more so Instagram, but I'm like definitely into it. Like I don't think I know much about it, so I still would like to learn. Yeah,
because you could target people within a 1 kilometer radius of Canadian Tire, Dundas Mall. for example, right? Like you can target a radius. I've not used Google like geo-targeting before, but conferences use them all the time. So that could be something to look into. I don't know if you can do door-to-door flyers
Yeah.
or direct mail. Another thing to try is like just really focusing on the Toronto area with your advertising. So instead of saying Canada wide or Ontario wide, you just really focus on the Toronto demographic.
Oh yeah, so we are focusing Toronto first, but Toronto itself is quite diverse. But what you were saying, even more so, like neighborhoods itself, to get started. Okay.
Exactly. And then other things, you would target local publications. Like, could you get into Blog.to? Could you get into Snapped? Could you get into anything like that? Toronto Sun is like a startup story. Just anything where, if you think of who your customer is, what sort of media they consume, and then figure out how to get in front of them.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you. And our last question, it looks like we have Tanvir. Tanvir, go ahead, my friend.
Hi, thank you so much for sharing your story. I just checked out your YouTube and oh my God, I'm so excited. It's going to be like the next thing I'm going to binge on.
Yay. Awesome.
I just had a question. So I know you mentioned about like marketing and you talked upon like Shopify a little bit, and I wanted to know what your thoughts are on like setting up Google Ads.
Yeah. So
and sorry, this is more for like I guess to give you more context. I have a Shopify store set up. I haven't fully launched it yet.
Yeah.
And it's on like just selling furniture, like sofas only, like sectional sofa chairs, sofa love seats, like all that kind of stuff. And I wanted to know your thoughts on that, like having setting up a Google ad for that.
Like, is Google Ads worth your time?
Yes.
Yeah. So I think Google Ads are going to be good for you because you can target people based on search activity. You can target people searching for sofas in Toronto, and you get someone who's very like a high intent to purchase, we call it, because they're serious and they're looking for something right away, right? They're very ready to purchase something. So I think Google is going to be really good for you to try for sure.
Okay. Thank you.
You're welcome.
And there's one more person actually who has their hand up. So Adoranki, you'll be the last question for tonight, and then we'll wrap.
Hi, thank you so much for your presentation. I came in kind of late, but I will definitely go back and have to listen to all this. So thank you for taking the time to share your knowledge with us. Okay, so I am not in the startup stage. I have been around for a couple years. And I've actually, before COVID started, I was attending all these startup reset. I think they were like once a week on Thursdays, or I can't remember which day at Ryerson. So I was going regularly. So I'm happy that they started this up again. So my service is a little different in that I am a nurse that provides natural solutions for people suffering with joint pain, low energy, challenges with weight loss, and anti-aging. So initially, when I started doing this, I was recommending products to people. Now, I wasn't just saying, go and buy this, go and buy this. I really did take the time, and maybe that's the nurse in me. Take the time. I sat down with them and really took the time, and just to really, really dig and find out why they want these specific products. Why, somebody might come in for weight loss, and at the end, I find out that they have an eating disorder. So I might not recommend anything for them, right?
Yeah, get to the root of the problem. Yeah,
exactly. I don't want to put a band-aid on the problem. I try to really get to the root, or if they're having joint pain, maybe they need to lose a little weight, and then maybe the joint pain will stop, right?
Right. Yeah.
So initially when I was marketing, I was putting products up, and then I realized that I probably wasn't going about it the right way because people were just seeing the products and not seeing the service. Because it's not my product. It's a product that I purchased from the States. But it's a pretty high-end product. It's approved by Health Canada. It's in a book called the Compendium of Pharmaceuticals and Specialties, which is this big blue book that you find in the doctor's office or any specialist office.
Yeah.
And it's a book of medications, but this natural product is in that book because it's been proven that they help with specific conditions, right?
Right.
So I've had to kind of brainstorm how I can really market it, because I'm not marketing the products, I'm marketing the consultations. Does that make sense?
Are you charging for the consultations?
Yes, I do. Okay, so when I do an initial consult, maybe that if somebody calls, I'll,
It's free. Yeah.
Yes, exactly. And if they want to be monitored over 6 months and all that stuff, then they will pay for that. And then I will help them with the products as well, because the products they get delivered to their homes. Then they call me when they get them. And then I go through the products and make sure they're using them properly and just make sure that they reach their goals. Yeah.
So I feel like the best approach for this is a funnel approach. And what I mean by that is, what is the one thing you help people with? Like if you had to, okay, so I help online sellers launch products on Kickstarter. That's what I do. So how would you describe what you do to somebody?
I empower clients to make informed decisions about their health.
Okay. And so people coming to you struggle with just generally feeling shitty?
Yes. I'd say the top ones are weight loss and poor energy. Everyone is tired all the time.
So what I feel like you might want to do is, what I'm hearing is you kind of want to sell your services like I am, in terms of you help people get a specific result. And what you're selling is the consult. Okay, the consultation's free. So, hey, click here to book your free 30-minute weight loss consult or whatever. And then on the call, you pitch them a 90-day care package or whatever your services are. And then in that recommended workup, you also do a custom plan for what supplements or what products you also want to upsell them to. So you kind of sell products on the back end once they're bought into a treatment plan with you.
Oh, I see what you're saying.
Yeah.
Okay. So do you think I should be posting about the free consultation?
Yeah. I mean, if your main offer that you want to be selling is, I assume like treatment plans or a consultation with people, right?
Yeah, packages. So I also have a holistic nutritionist that works with me as well.
Okay.
So typically I'll do an initial consult. Maybe if they just call, I'll give them some information. If they feel like yay or nay, then they'll book maybe like 3 months with me. Then we'll go over like what their goals are, what I think that they should work on as well. And then we'll kind of just have monthly check-ins just to make sure they're on the right path.
So I think that's great. So my old chiropractor, Stephanie Estima, I don't know if you know her, she just wrote a book or whatever in Toronto, but that's what she did. Like, I went into a chiropractor office, and usually chiropractors are like, oh, you got a sore back, here's just one time, I'll see you never.
Yes.
And what she did, her and her team were like, let's sit down. Okay, great. You're not sleeping well. You're not, okay, your balance is off, blah, 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 blah. Great. Let's recommend a 3-month bi-weekly treatment plan that includes chiropractic and a couple of other things. So she basically sold me a full treatment plan. And then on the back end, as we were doing like every 2 weeks, we do check-ins to see how progress was going. She'd be like, oh, you know what? Do you want to get this blood test, or, try these supplements? They basically curate a treatment plan once I'm starting to get results based on products that they can sell me. And it was like genius, because already they're like, I trust you, I'm getting results, what else can I do? And then you're basically like, well, here's $200 a month in supplements, like go, right?
Right.
And you're getting results for people and they freaking love you. And then you can scale that into, I don't know where you want to go with this, but like you can scale that into a book, a speaking thing, a group coaching program. Like you can really scale that up if that's really, but again, just for right now, that's what I would do, is I would do supplements and stuff on the back end.
Okay. So when I do the consults, I have to recommend the supplements. So for instance, I had a client last week. She's on the police force here, and she has low energy and she wants to lose weight. And so I ordered a liquid multivitamin for her. And then I ordered like a detox, like a herbal detox supplement for her as well. And I spoke to her like the following week, and she was said she felt that she had way more energy.
Yay.
And when she gets up in the morning, she feels like, okay, I'm ready for the day.
That's
right?
awesome.
Thank you. But then, if I didn't have the products to recommend to her, then she wouldn't have got the results, right? I kind of built the relationship with her on LinkedIn. So we kind of started talking, and then, then she trusted me. So then when I recommended these things to her, she's like, yes, let's do it. But how do you do that for someone that you don't know? I mean, people don't trust people they don't know. I mean, this is where our society is, right? People are reluctant. Nobody wants to be the one that was scammed, or you know what I mean, or spent money where they shouldn't have.
It's easy because the free consultation is meant to build rapport. And if that's not enough, you get social proof. So you just said you have a lady here in Toronto who within a week had a massive turnaround. If you can capture that on video or a testimonial and you use it on social media, or when you have a client you've done a free consult for and you pitch them on services and they're like, I don't know if what you're selling can work for me. Well, you can say, we worked with 4 women just like you that were suffering with this, and within 10 days, we had a massive turnaround. And that is how you build trust, right?
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Perfect.
Amazing.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much for that.
You're welcome.
All right, everyone. Kirsten, thank you so much for another fantastic startup school. Everyone, the time has come. It's come to an end this semester. I'm sorry, we're done for the term, but like I said, if you guys want to check it out, go to ryersonstartupschool.com. You'll find all of our past sessions there. This session will be up probably in the next week or so, if anybody missed any part of it, and we'll see you guys on the flip side.
Thanks so much, guys.
All right, bye.
Okay.